This is Ken Tanaka from Wish4Fish, and today's top tip is how to hook live bait, and also my personal opinion on the best setup for live bait. My personal favorite hook to use is Gamakatsu, big river bait. You could go anywhere from, depending on the size of your bait is the critical part. You know, I have anything ranging from a 2/0 to a 6/0. Obviously the 2 being the smaller and the 6 being the larger hook. The reason why I do like this design is because it is designed for live bait. If you're hooking it in the mouth, it's going to set the mouth in right here, and the hook lays down a little bit more flat so it doesn't pick up debris when you're using current. Also, in my opinion, it sits really nicely when you hook it in the back, right here, versus the circle hook, or like an octopus hook. Here's how I set up my live bait with the Carolina rig. First of all, I have a 50-pound test titanium leader with a big river bait hook, Gamakatsu. Highly suggest the big river bait hook Gamakatsu because, first of all, the Gamakatsu takes 30% less force to get a hook set, and I highly suggest the titanium leader because of the no kink. It's just, I've caught a couple muskie on this particular leader and I could reuse it versus a regular leader, wire leader, that will definitely kink, and you'd have to toss it after one big fish. Alright, I personally like to give myself a little bit more than this is a 6-inch leader. Just a little bit more leeway for the bait to swim. Now, you could just get a bigger leader. I'm using a fisherman's knot. The thing about giving yourself a better leader is I don't like the movement of the leader. It's not quite as natural, and plus I personally think it's a little bit more visible than obviously a line. I'm using this is a 50-pound test braided line, Power Pro. I like the braided line because it's lets stretch, get a nice hook set. It's a little tougher than monofilament. Alright, so now you have just a little bit more leeway. Now that I have that, I hook it up to a two-way swivel. Now, most people might argue that that the less connections, the better. I agree with that, but you know, obviously there's less places for it to go wrong. Although, if you're using good equipment, or I guess you could say good pound test and everything like that, and you're using the drag correctly, you shouldn't have a problem anyway. I believe if you lose a fish using 50-pound test, it's not going to be the joints that is going to fail, it's going to be a user error, if anything. Next thing I do is I'm going to use, like I said, we're going to go with the Carolina rig. So, since we're in a calm lake, I could use just a regular weight, slip weight. Now, if you were going to be in rough waters, I would definitely use a non-slip, non-roll weight. Now you take a bead, and the bead is going to basically protect the knot from getting bashed by the weight. This is definitely the best catfish, and what I'm going for today is muskie. So, in my opinion, those are the best. This is the best setup for those fish. And I'm going to show you why in a second. Now we have the Carolina rig set up, and basically your live bait's going to go here, and obviously the weight's going to be at the bottom, and you have plenty of room to get some action from your bait. And the thing about the Carolina rig is that once the fish takes the bait, your slip weight, okay, being at the bottom here, okay, fish comes along, takes a pull, and once he takes the bait, it's going to be able to feed through this weight without him feeling any pressure. And that's pretty much the beauty of the Carolina rig. I'm going to show you how to properly hook live bait. Now, I don't know exactly what you're going to be using wherever you are located. Here in Minnesota, we use sucker minnows. Now, you could also use obviously bullheads, which is probably a better bait to use for flathead catfish, but sucker minnows will do. I am taking my sucker minnow and I am hooking it right through the back behind the dorsal fin. You don't want to go too deep, and you don't want to get too shallow because you're just flinging off. You want to do it like that, right there, just like that. Now when you're hooking it through the lip, you're going to hook it through here. It's going to come out like this, and as you see, it sits down a little bit better than versus a circle hook. Okay, now this is a 2/0 and this is a medium sucker. I'd say about a almost 4-inch sucker. And it's still a little big, so you could maybe go down even to a 1/0. I would use a 2/0 just because if you're using a sucker like this, you're most likely going to catch a pretty big fish. And that's Wish4Fish Top Tip for how to hook up live bait.